Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just wanted to talk to you about something pretty important. Just create a new course called Evolution of Zero to Hero Trading Strategy. You can find this under my quantlabs.net/academy. New course has been added under the courses here, Evolution of Zero to Hero Trading Strategy. You need to either be a member of my Elite or Elite Trial. Temporarily, I'm putting it into the Elite Trial. That'll be up there for a limited amount of time. So once you get logged into either, you'll be able to come back to the courses and get direct access to it once I can choose the right course right here, Evolution of Zero to Hero. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about what's in it. I want to show you how to navigate it. It's pretty easy. All the courses I have are pretty easy. You should be able to have this, let's just go back here, have this list enabled. We have modules and units. Our first one should be enabled. You can then click it on, it should be in blue, meaning it's enabled, and then consume the content, go to the next unit, and then you'll also see a green little bar up here. I'll say mark is complete, and they'll make you make available the next unit, and you can navigate through all these units. So going back to the course, let's get into the course itself. All right, so the course has been designed with, over the last probably 2 months of testing out a strategy that's working really nice. Here, if you go into my positions, since today is October 10th, we had a very good day on the October 6th, 4 days ago, where overall we had about a 30+% move over 18 hours with these particular cryptocurrencies. The strategy has taken a few losses, but we've patched this bug and this bug as well for these tiny losses. And then today we got another win trade of 4.9% with this crypto for today on October 10th. Of course, we've got our databases I've shown before, all of this stuff, which shows, we just get the latest data. So here we can see that the market asset class for crypto is negative. As you can see here, the value. We also have now added a new database or table which tracks all the negative moves. I'll talk about that in a minute, and then overall the watch list. So considering we have a fairly negative market, we even have one pair cryptocurrency on the watch list right now. So although the market's currently negative, I have tested this really well. I won't say I will take on a lot of negative positions or losing positions, but I seem to have circumvented them pretty good or mitigated them pretty good. So this is about 15, I'll say 15 videos plus. It's a combination of analysis and tools. A couple of notes here you need to be aware of. There is no code shown at all in this strategy. There's no code samples, so it just goes through trading rules, trading logic only. The reason why I like crypto, thanks to people in my recent and new Telegram group, have turned me on to it because of the wider swings. I'm not sure if it can be widely used in other asset classes like Forex or CFD, but that will be tested soon. Also, all the videos are not for public consumption and not available. And if you want to know more of the technical, I have this course, Python version 3 building block infrastructure, which has 2 lessons that show you how to create these logs I'm about to show you. So what we need to understand is how to protect our downside. Obviously, I've got a video on that. Now, this is the key one, debugging your logs for trading a strategy. I've been doing software development for 30+ years. Probably more than that. I don't want to show my age, but, well, I'm not an old man, but I don't have gray hair either. But that is a very important skill, no different if you're looking for bugs. When you go through logs, you will find that the data, the market data will show you opportunities there. And it's kind of funny because nobody does it. Nobody wants to put the work in, but they'll gladly read blogs and forums and social media posts, think that they know how to trade. This skill is really important to understand, not just how markets move, but they also will show you how markets flow, and you'll see patterns. And that's the beauty of it. So here we got some examples and some analysis. I purposely want to include not only great up days, but realistic down days as well, because when you have the down days in the analysis, it can beat you down pretty good. So we can have down days, but I'm showing you how to minimize your losses. Dare I say if I will be able to eliminate them? Probably not, but you can definitely minimize them. And there's different tools here that I show throughout these videos on how to do that, and you can easily use Python to make that happen. Now also we have some winners, and again some more examples. This video is created again on October 10th, 2018, so it's just for the last probably 2 months before that. So the next module we get into is something very critical, measuring risk on, risk off days. This is what the pros do, this is what the institutions do. Like today when the markets drop 3-4%, it's a risk off day. Question is, why would you want to trade that? Some will think you can trade in the markets, like in this case for the crypto asset class, which is totally separate from anything else. It's totally independent. There will be some new shocks that can bring down or move the cryptocurrency asset class as a whole, but it seems to be there's always this oscillation over a 24-hour period where there will be opportunities where you can go and turn your strategy into aggressive behavior. So let's go back to my list here. So you will get risk on, risk off days. When you have risk off, chances are you don't want to trade. You could, but I wouldn't recommend it because you're in an environment of falling knives. And as we get into the negative positions on how to handle it, I'll go into that more detail. But it's really critical to be able to not adjust, measure risk on, risk off like a binary set of options is yes, no, or risk on, risk off, or on and off. You have to quantify it, so I'll go about that in a minute. So overall, up until this point, I share some of the pro lessons that people have used to sort of circumvent these risk on, risk off days. I do another analysis to show minimal losses. Then we start getting into up days of cryptocurrencies. Okay, so now we are starting to change the strategy, and this is why I call this the evolution of a zero to hero trading strategy. So now we're changing the strategy to sort of we start setting as a really good risk management technique, be able to set daily targets over a 24-hour period, and at the same time quantify our daily risk with this, not just this analysis capability with risk on, risk off, but how do we have the capability to quantify it. So I talk about that here. So in this video here, I talk about winning or losing days. Okay, so here, as I said, overall in the P&L since the 6th of the last 4 days, we have quite a few days where it's up, and it's seriously up, where we get these kind of moves of 8%, 6% on some of these positions, or as I showed you today, 5% moves. Those are big moves. And we'll talk about one big day I had a few days ago. So I segregate for my performance over a 24-hour period. I'm starting it at midnight to the next day for 24 hours minus 1 minute. And that's how I measure things. So I set a daily target, and then the daily target percent move that I want, and then do I shut down the system. So this is what this refers to. Know when to shut down your system, your strategy to protect your profit because you've achieved your daily profit. Now, I do mention about you need to know how to quantify your risk. Takes it to here. Now, these are the top 5 big cryptocurrency coins. But you can clearly see here I have a value assigned to each one, It's a weighted average against volume and the current price over a certain period of time. In here, you'll notice here, I include the raw data. This is part of my access to my analytics service that will include this. And it's pretty detailed and really powerful to know when the markets are turning against you and coming back, and will be moving into the time when you can go into aggressive mode to start trading again to get, guess what, these kind of moves. So you can clearly see that at some point the markets did start to pick up here at 11:19, 12:51, and then over time, like fishing, which it kind of is, we eventually get one big fish, and that we meet our target for the day, and we could pretty well shut down our system, and we should be able to. Okay, so that matters. So you got to know how to quantify that risk. I show you and go through that, and I also show you when to shut down the system, protect your daily profit target. And many people don't do that because they'll set their run their system 24/7, and they won't shut it down when they hit their daily target. It's very critical to protect your profit. Not only that, but what really I guess you could say perturbed me is where retail traders say, well, you're going to lose the opportunity when you hit more profit. You could, and that's true, but that's where the fear and greed comes in. Pretty well, you should be happy with the target you get. Stick to that rule. Be disciplined, and most of all, you'll be able to protect your profits because you're not letting the greed kick in because the system won't allow it. And then they'll, like quite a few retail traders will try to argue the fact that no, you should let your profits run and blah 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 blah. But I will tell you this: once the markets, the asset class of crypto will go against you, you'll start to take on more losing trades. You're over trading, and you start to take on more risk, which means, as I said, you're not going to be protecting your profit because the law of averages will be against you, and you will be taking on more losing positions. As here, as an example, these pairs right here, ZRX Ethereum and QTUM Ethereum, if you track at those times at, again, 11:19 and 12:51, if I go into this database here of the remove negative, if I look for those time periods, you can clearly see, actually, no, 10, let's see here. So this is in the morning. See here, we know that QTUM, for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's too many negative moves, so chances are that's at, let me make sure I'm getting the times, no, I'm getting the times, so that's at, no, okay, so that's later in the day. So doing this type of analysis will help reduce your risk if there are pairs moving against you. And as a result, because there's no negative moves on ZRX or QTUM for today, for the last 3 to 6 hours, we will take on the risk and take on a position because we are not getting too many negative moves where it gets removed from my watches. I cover these in the videos. So here, we will take on the trade, but you can see here the rate of change percent-wise since the position was taken on was 0. That means it did go negative. My system did close out the trade just in time, so we don't take any losses. And at the same time, the only loss we take is the 0.1 commission fee on Binance, which is very small. And we can easily lump those when we start getting these big moves of 4.9%. But we also got to make sure that our P&L for the day can cover those commission fees. Okay, so I'll get into other things later on, but hopefully you can see the concept here. All right, so we've got these 3 modules right here, which are kind of important, I would imagine. So the 4th module is, again, the next big step is module 4, which then goes, at this point we're using Binance as the exchange in crypto, which is great from an API perspective or a programming perspective. I cover that in my other Python course. Here, what we're doing is, instead of watching all 300 plus assets, we're now evolving to only watch the top 30. This is a watch or a list of the top 30 cryptos that I only watch I don't care about the other ones because they're too small in terms of volume, and volume's another big factor which will drive up the momentum when you take on a position. So here I talk about that on the difference with the top 30. I do some further analysis in showing how this crypto pairs, Steam, Ethereum, or Bitcoin Gold, Ethereum, has potential. And then I have now the ability, because of this change, be able to showcase all of this analysis within on the fly, which is really important. So here, again, evolution, and I said these are potential movers. Well, guess what? On the Saturday, I think this was predicted Thursday. The following Saturday, we got a 14% move on Bitcoin Gold, which is Bitcoin Gold Ethereum. And when you look at the P&L for that day, right here, and here's the big movers right here. Bitcoin Ethereum moved up 8.5%, and that's the biggest move we've gotten so far running this strategy over the last 5 days. So these kind of recommendations can be very, very powerful. And Steam, I believe, is the other one. Let me just check that. Yeah, you can see all the moves right here that we've got with Steam. 5 positions taken later in the day where we got all these moves of 4.08, 1.62, 1.13, 1.81, 5.3, and 5.33. So these two recommendations have brought about some very large moves because we have the capability to analyze those and be able to predict those within a few days that they are big movers. When you total up these moves, it's right here. 33% up move over 18%, or sorry, over 18 hours on Bitcoin Gold and Steam, and we predicted that 2 days before. So these are big moves, and we have the capabilities to predict these crypto pairs using this logic, minimizing our losses. You can see here, this is part of evolution. We do take the occasional loss, but when you net out the 30%, you're up 30%. Nobody can predict those kind of moves. Very powerful stuff that we have here. Okay, so we go back to continuing along. And then what I thought I'd do is ask me anything on a few days ago on a webinar. Some very powerful questions. We did further analysis, be able to do some further assessment on the fly because of these strategies and these techniques and these tools that I'm showing in this strategy. Okay, so now what we're trying to do is we've got something that seems to work really well. We call it thus the hero. So again, in our in our next step of evolution is trying to eliminate these losses. I don't think it's possible, and these are over the last few days. These right here, these ones I'm talking about, and this is earlier today. I talk about these tiny losses. These are tiny losses, 0.07%, 0.26%. Make a patch, I talk about it, and look what happens. We now have the ability later on in the day, not just to eliminate losses, but at least prevent a loss. And as I said, we will have to take not a loss of 0%, but be able to just eat the commission because we have to put on the risk because it meets all the conditions, but we're able to circumvent that loss minus the commission fee, again, which is 0.1%. And then there's the occasional winner that comes along of when Ethereum. Now, if I did my analysis further, I probably could have predicted this. I can definitely predict that there's a lot of movement on when by looking at these negative movers, and there's a small list of them. But there are some that are moving, but the problem is that they are kind of a little risky because of the down moves. But I bet you, and this I'm just putting in this video here, I bet you we may have some movers here, Bitcoin Cash, this BAT, and some other ones. There might be some winners in here, big winners. Like we can tell here at 746%, I think it's after the fact. But who knows? If I did some deeper analysis through my analytics, I'd be able to see if we have some winners here for some really big moves in the next day or so. as I showed you earlier concerning these two moves of Steam and Bitcoin Gold, where we got a combined move of 33%. So it's early days right now, but I'm showing you how it's done, the analysis is done, and the evolution of this is done at the same time to mitigate the risk. Now, as I said, this course is going to be available for all my quant elite guys. It's a big ticket product, annual subscription. I'm not even going to talk the price, but here I'll keep it limited in my trial edition of the quant elite, and you can get all that information through my store right here. But if this continues as it stands with these kind of big moves, I think this strategy will become more and more valuable, and you know what will happen as the value builds, up goes the price. Hopefully it'll help you out for now, and we shall talk to you soon. Later.